I lied in my bed, unable to sleep. I turned left and right, restless. It was all because of this weird, heroic dream that I can't wake up from. I played back the day, remembering what had happened from start to finish. Once reaching the end, I let out a sigh. This is too unrealistic. That was when the contents of the letter I had received earlier today came in mind. Game of Hearts. In order to win, I must survive for a year. Survive for 1 year, I mutter. Does that mean if I survive in this world just for 1 year, I'll wake up? I win? I reach for my phone on the bedside drawer. I check the date. Monday, August 20th. Hold up. Oh my god, that would have been perfect if I posted that on August 20th. I'm sorry. Of next year. That is when I get to go home. I silently exhaled, turning off my phone, and had held it in the dark. All right, I'll do it. I'll survive until August 20th. More importantly, I get to have fun with my favorite fictional characters. That's not so bad, was it? My phone suddenly vibrated in my hand as a message pops up from the group chat. As I recently put it in. Yin-chan. Genya is offline. Inosuke is offline. Zenitsu. This is a picture of a bunny and it's like, shush, don't wake up. I'm dreaming of you. Tanjiro. Please don't tell me it was a dream of me. It's 1 a.m. We have school tomorrow. Zenitsu. Never Tanjiro. If it ever was, it would be considered a nightmare. That was for Yin-chan. You. Lafameo. Well, I'm wide awake either way. Zenitsu. Did I wake you up, Yin-chan? You. No. I was already awake. Couldn't sleep at all. Tanjiro. Something bothering you? It's normal to feel restless at the end of the first day. You can always talk to us if you need someone to talk to. Zenitsu. That's right, Yin-chan. We're your new friends, and friends help each other out. You. Aw, thank you so much, you two. Tanjiro. He says that with every pretty girl he meets. Zenitsu. No, I don't. Only to Yin-chan. Stop shaming my name, Tanjiro. You think I'm pretty, Tanjiro? You're not stealing Yin-chan from me, Tanjiro. I already called dibs on her, Tanjiro. Of course not, Zenitsu. I don't see Yin that way. You, lol. Tanjiro, we should sleep now. Tomorrow we have a group lab for science. And I'm sure Genya and Inosuke won't be fond of us spamming the group chat this late. You're right. Night-night, you two. Sleep well. Zenitsu. Good night, Yin-chan. Tanjiro. Good night. I giggled, turning off my phone and rubbing my eyes sleepily. I settled a tired yawn, pulling the covers over my shoulders. My eyes tightened as I closed as I thought of the Komodo squad members. Tanjiro and Zenitsu. Those two boys were really sweet. Maybe spending a year with them isn't so bad. Tanjiro's POV. I laid in my bed, red face as I played back, remembering what I sent to the group chat, and Yin responded. You think I'm pretty, Tanjiro? I covered my face, embarrassed. I didn't even know how to respond to her question. I never really looked or cared much at a girl's looks. Now that I think about it, Yin looks average. She looks normal, just like every other girl at Ketsu. Hi, but then again, I never really cared much for looks at other girls in and out school. What I found pretty in a girl is her personality. Someone I can feel comfortable and happy around. I haven't known Yin that long to really know her personality, really. But one thing was for sure. She looks pretty funny in those pink pajamas of hers this morning. Back to your POV the next day. Good morning, my beautiful angel. I slammed my hands blindly several times on the bedside drawer in search of a new phone to turn off the alarm. I looked at the date, August 21st, Tuesday. I heard a knock on my door. At Nato's voice rings. Time to wake up or you'll be late, Yin. he calls out. I made some pancakes, so eat them while they're still hot. I opened my eyes and smiled at the sound of Naoto. I get out of bed and head downstairs to find Naoto already dressed and was putting on his shoes. You're leaving? I ask. Yeah, there's a lead on an investigation. Naoto smiles sadly. I wish I could take you to school. I'll be fine, I grin, walking over to Naoto and giving him a hug. You do your best, okay? Naoto chuckles, unlocking the front door. He ruffles the top of my head. Of course, Yen. Now have fun in school and remember to stay safe. With that, Naoto leaves, leaving me alone. For some reason, I wasn't as terrified of this home as I was before. Was because of someone else who was living with me? I eat breakfast and take a shower before setting off and preparing for the second school day. On my walk to school, across the street, there were some familiar yells that caught my eye. Those eyes belonged to none other than the Hashira. Yin! Mitsuru exclaims worriedly. Her cheeks she checks both sides of the street before jaywalking. The group also quickly follows behind her. Though some of the boys seemed recalcitrant, Mitsuru is the first to reach me as she cups her cheeks. An anxious surprise was planted on her face. Are you okay? Yin, you're not hurt, are you? Oh, you poor girl. Gomez shakes his head at me. Tears were now streaming down his face. Yin, is everything all right? Shinobu considerately asks. Beside her, Kojiro exclaims, Yes, we had seen what happened yesterday, and you weren't responding in the group chat. Well, that was one way to make a statement, Tengen says, looking as if he's recalling something. Anyways, making a scene really annoying, Obanai says, without looking up from his phone. She's the type to make everything dramatic, Sami really says. That's probably what happened. ... Michiro didn't say anything, as he's too focused on his phone. Gyu also was silent besides Michiro. I rubbed the back of my neck, embarrassed. So you all saw what happened yesterday? Happened? I didn't mean for it to be such a big deal. You could have said something in the group chat, Mitsuru pouts, looking down. We were all worried. I was really, really worried. I looked down at my shoes to think that I had made those who cared about me worry for me. I'm sorry. I apologize. But if I wanted to text you guys, I don't have your numbers saved or anything, since I got a new phone. A new phone? Shinobu repeats, as I take out my new phone so Shinobu can add my number into the group chat. Once in the Hashira group chat, I started saving everyone's numbers under their names. Although some were reluctant to save my number, Sanemi and Obanai, in the end, they were forced to by Mitsuri and Shinobu. We all, as large group chat, made our way to school. First class. Science now. I entered my first class with a tired yawn, slumping into a cold wooden stool. Zenitsu is the first to greet me with a happy smile. Yin-chan, good morning. Good morning, Zenitsu. I sheepishly respond, rubbing my tired eyes. Not much of a morning person, He comments. I shake my head no. Never was and never will be. I look around the classroom and notice Tanjiro and Genya haven't arrived in class yet. Maybe they were running late? Zenitsu's phone vibrates from a notification. He pulls it out and checks. Genya and Tanjiro say that they both might come late because of some construction happening. Oh, I nodded. If that's the case, then we should pay attention and take lots of notes for them. Ah, Yin-chan, you're so smart. Zenitsu squeals. My eyes look around the classroom, full of first years. That was when my eyes fell on a familiar-looking boy. Is that Michiro? I get up from my desk, wanting to greet Michiro since we never properly talked. Yin-chan, where are you going? Zenitsu looked up from his desk. I'm going to say hi to a friend. I smile before walking off. Michiro sat alone at the back corner of the science room. His elbow was perched on the science lab station as his head was resting on his hand. He was gazing out the window. He wasn't on his phone. Hi, Michiro. I waved. The boy didn't seem to notice me until 7 seconds awkwardly passed. Michiro looked up at me. How do you know my brother? Brother? I frowned at his words. What are you talking about, Michiro? I'm not Michiro. The long-haired, turquoise-eyed boy eyed me suspiciously. He suddenly got on guard. I'm his older twin brother. It's Yuricho. I think that's how you say it. My jaw dropped. I didn't know Michiro had a brother. None the less a twin brother. Now answer my question. Yushiro coldly repeats. His demeanor changes. He's now his cold-hearted sounding boy. A little nervous, I respond. The Hashira introduced me to him? Yushiro clicks his tongue in annoyance. Those damn bastards. It was clear that Yushiro wasn't a fan of the Hashira, considering his reaction when I mentioned them. Is something wrong, Yushiro? I look at his ticked-off expression. He looked at me, eyeing me up and down before scowling. If you got nothing better to do, go butt into other people's business. With that, Yushiro turns away irritatedly, before staring back at the window. This brat? I was a little offended at Yushiro's rude attitude at me, but he ignored it. I headed back to my seat as a bell rang. Class was now in session. Good morning, class, the science teacher enters. Her name was Han-Yi Zoe, but prefers to be called Miss Han-Yi. The class breaks into different good mornings at our teacher. I hope you had a good night's sleep, because today I'm sorry, I've never done this and it's always disgusted me. We're going to be dissecting frogs. Miss Han-Yi aesthetically squeals. It's just the second day. Today, I'll be letting you choose your groups to this activity, Miss Han-Yi explains. If you are not in a group of 5, I will put you into one. She gestures that everyone can get up and move around. Once your groups are picked, stand behind a lab station and with an empty gray tray. As everyone moves around, I remained in my seat, unsure of who I should be paired up with. I was worried that Zenitsu might have had a group already, as I couldn't find him anywhere, but turns out my thoughts of Zenitsu were proven wrong. I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned to find Zenitsu smiling. Yin-chan, let's partner up together. I nodded in agreement. Now, we need 3 more. The door of our class opens as Tanjiro and Genya come walking in, both holding excuse late slips. I was hoping it would have been the 2 of us. Zenitsu pouts. Miss Han-Yi quickly explains to the 2 boys that what we were doing. Once finished, Tanjiro and Genya both walk over to us. Good morning. Tanjiro smiles. You're too happy this early in the morning. I waffled with a yawn. But good morning, Tanjiro. I glanced over at Genya, who stood awkwardly beside Tanjiro. His eyes couldn't meet mine. He wore an unreadable expression. Did he not like me? Good morning to you, Genya. I smile at the boy. His eyes suddenly dart to me before looking away uncomfortably. His ears were turning a faint pink. Zenitsu suddenly grabs my shoulders and directs me to the left of him, a distance away from Tanjiro and Genya, but Tanjiro moves specifically. Don't think that I forgot what you said last night, Tanjiro. Zenitsu's eyes were that burgundy-haired boy. Yin-chan is mine. Tanjiro's eyes wide. I didn't mean it like that. Last night, Zenitsu. He holds out his right hand, lightly waving a defensive. The back of his left hand was covered by his face slightly. I giggled at the 2. That was when I noticed we only had a group of 4 in our group. Me, Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Genya. We needed 1 more. My eyes darted around the room for anyone I could have recognized. There was nobody, until my eyes landed on a certain twin of the certain Mist Hashira. I walked away from my group and walked up to Yushiro, who sat in the same spot as before. He was still staring out the window, lost in thought. Yushiro, I called out. He turns at the sound of of his name being said, he wore a bored look. "It's you again," he says. "What do you want?" "What I want is for you to be in my group." I lightly point over to the Commodore squad of only 3 members. The 3 boys were too preoccupied to even notice that I had left. "No," he simply says, turning his face back at the window. "What? Why?" I frown. "You already have a group." "No, but why should I join your group?" Yushiro faces me once more, this time a little irritated. Because we want you to be in our group." I quickly came up with a random lie. "We," he repeats, before pointing over to the boys in the group. "Are you sure that there was even a we?" Frustrated at how Yusha was nitpicking at how I wanted him to join, I reached out and clasped my hands with his right hand. He looks taken aback. "I want you in my group, okay?" I stated. "If they disagree, they're going to have to go with me. And besides, what if Miss Hai ends up putting you with a bad group? Your grade will be affected." He pulls his hand back, annoyed. "Why do you even care so much about that group? What group I end up with?" Yushiro growls. "Whatever I end up failing or not, that's up to me." "Of course I care." At this point, I was trying to argue with this stubborn Yushiro. "You're Michiro's brother, which makes you my friend." But before Yushiro can say anything rude back, Miss Haing's loud voice gathers everyone's attention. "Okay, class. So I've taken notes on which kids have gone in groups, and so I'll put you all in right now. You, girl, with the long black hair. Yep, you're going to work with these kids here. Han's going to scribble someone on the clipboard." She suddenly projects her voice to the back of the class, to where Yushiro and me are. "Ah, boy with the black long hair. You're going to be working with that girl beside you in her group." Yes! I clasped my hands together, happy that in the end Yushiro was put in our group. I glanced over at Yushiro. His eyes looked away from mine. He gets off the stool vacantly, standing in front of me. He wasn't that tall, but he was around the same height of not slightly tall. Okay. Except it excellent to be working with Yushiro's brother, who I never knew existed. I take his hand with mine and guide him over to the rest of our team members. "Meet our new team member." I proudly gestured to Yushiro. Zenitsu is the first to notice and suddenly screeches, pointing at the jesting finger towards Yushiro's right hand. "Yinshen, who is he? You're cheating on me?" I had forgotten that I was still holding Yushiro's pulls back silent. "We were never a thing, idiot." I regressively bonk his head. "You're Yushiro, right?" Tanjiro steps towards Yushiro's twin with a soft smile. "I remember you from history class when we did our class introductions." Yushiro nods silently. "Well, I'm Tanjiro, and this is Zenitsu, Genya, and Yin." Tanjiro gestures to all of us. Yushiro nods once more. "Not much of a talker, huh?" Genya crosses his arms. I give Genya a look. "Yeah, totally not much of a talker, I recall. Last few encounters with Yushiro were coldly spoke to me." "All right, class, let us get started. I want you to open up the cabinet underneath your stations. There should be a box of index gloves." Miss Han happily explains. "After that, I need one brave soul from each group to come up here so I can hand you a jar with our little froggies." I gulped nervously. Dissecting frogs was a defined no for me. It was nasty and scary, and shivers come crawling down my spine. Just even thinking about them made goosebumps appear on my skin. I glanced over at Yushiro beside me. He was silently putting on his gloves. "I can't wimp out now. I promised Yushiro that he'd pass in this group." Guys, I said towards the 3 members of the Komodo squad. Yes, Yen? Tanjiro looks at me, fixing his gloves. Yes, Yen-chan? Sensei smiles. Don't worry about the frog. Genya will get it. No, it's not about that. I shake my head. Let's work really, really hard, okay? I promised Yushiro that we'd 100% on this lab experiment or activity. The 3 boys nod in agreement. Turns out working together to dissect a frog wasn't too bad. We talked more to got to know more about each other. And more importantly, Yushiro seemed to have talked a little more. Yushiro's POV. Caring, kindness, kind-hearted. All of those soft, pretty emotions belong to the types of people I despise. I loathe. Our mother caught a cold, which only worsened into bronchitis and eventually taking her life. Our soft-hearted father also, too, passed away in an accident. When he found out Mother got sick, he left the house to go to an infirmary for medicine. On the way there, the horrid weather, a car ran right into him. It was all because their hard-working, senseless nature. My twin, Michiro, used to have our father's compassion emotions, always empathetic and full of care. But ever since those parents of ours died, he shut off, like some sort of light switch. He's become a different person. He tends to be in daze, always absorbing himself in video games. I can tell he's mostly unfocused when his eyes weather off, implying he's wandering off in thought, uninterested in what is actually going on in front of him. With the trauma the 2 of us went through, Michiro subconsciously lost his memories of our dead mom, our dead father, and more importantly, the kind, nice, compassionate emotion he used to have. Yet, I couldn't deny how grateful I was for Michiro to shake off those petty, useless feelings he took after our father. They were meaningless either way. Just why were people so soft-hearted, weak, even? After losing our family early on, I had to take care of Michiro all alone. We moved in Kayuka Uberashiki's apartment complex and lived under Kayuka's name as our legal guardian. Sure, I was grateful for their hospitality, but after a while, I got strange feelings everything wasn't all normal. I got strange feelings that Kayuka Uberashiki was hiding something. And it made it worse when I found out that Michiro had started hanging out with the Hashiras of the apartment complex. I knew something wasn't going to end well. To my worst nightmare, the Hashira have been clashing with groups known as the Kazuki, led by Muzan. I may not know him that well, but I do know that guy's not a good person, especially since all that wealth he has is dirty money. There was more to Muzan Kibutsuji that meets the eyes. I've instanced countless times for Michiro to stop hanging out with the Hashira for his safety, but he still hangs out with them without much thought put to it. He's sort of just following them around like a lost dog. When I asked Michiro why he continues to hang out with people like the Hashira, he always answers, because they're my friends. What was up with these people being so kind-hearted, so caring? Doing something good won't do yourself any good. Why put yourself above others when you can barely take care of yourself? What I want is you to join my group. Of course I care. You're Michiro's brother, which makes you my friend. I can't remember the last time I had one.